Hello, everyone. Well, I'm back to my teaching session today. Like I said, I've been advised to just do teaching, no distraction, greeting people and socializing, that people just want the teachings and they are blessed by just this short teachings. So I'm just going to go directly into the teaching, and we're to continue the series that we started, high yielding lifestyle versus low yielding lifestyle. High yielding versus low yielding lifestyle. Well, and the topic of today is going to be wants or needs. Wants or needs. Wants or needs. You see, a lot of us, we are living under the deception of wants. When you grow up in your family, your parents ask you, what do you want? What do you want to eat? What do you want for the Christmas? What do you want for your for your birthday? What do you want? Want. So those kind of questions, they develop in us and build in us the mentality of the fact that we have the right to our wants, and that anything we want, it's our right to want it. And that things we want must be provided for us. But even more sad is the fact that we live believing that life is all about wants. And life is all about what we want. And that since I want it, it is legitimate. And since I want a certain thing, then I must be right in pursuing it. Sometimes we even, as Christians, claim or pray to God to supply those things that we want. But what I want to tell you today is that those people who live the lifestyle of want, they are actually living a low yielding lifestyle. The life of want don't become or hardly become a high yielding life. The life of want is always or mostly bringing you to frustration, will only lead you to bankruptcy, lead you to debt, leads you to financial crisis, bankruptcy, and recession. It is okay to want to have stuff and to want to achieve some goals and targets, but you should know that life is not about those things that you want. God only promises to give to us what we need. He only promises to supply our needs, not our wants. One simple reason for this is because our needs are simple, direct, and straightforward. There are a few basic needs for all men, and it's legitimate for you to ask for these things because these things are things that you need for survival. So needs are the very thing that we need for our very survival. But wants are unlimited. They are unspecific. Everybody has their own wants. And wants could be infinite. Wants could be a long, unending list of requests and desires. So one major problem with wants is that it fulfills your ego and it works for your carnality, for your flesh, your lust. It works together with your lust. So want is working in the area of lust. And even if you are the richest person in this world, you will never have enough money to meet your wants. So the only good part of wants is that At least it could encourage you to strive for some things and to work harder. But in most cases, people who just want something, as a matter of fact, they don't like to work for it. They just want to get it one way or the other. And it is that want that sometimes leads to crime or to fraud or to want to bypass the rules, to want to look for shortcuts, to want to beat the law. And you will know how that those kind of things end. They always end up in very sorrowful stories. So when you are dealing, when you build your life on wants, like okay, let's take Bill Gates. You know, Bill Gates is the richest person in the world, but do you know he still has to set up a foundation where he's receiving gifts and offerings to? Yes, he put most of his money in his foundation, but he still encourages people to bring money into the foundation. Why? Because his money will never be enough for the things he wants to do. It's same for all of us. So it is lust that makes us to want to live for our wants. It is lust that wants to always show us the new things that we want. And all want and want and want and want. Is insatiable. Is just like lust is insatiable, so also these things are impossible to satisfy. So what I'm trying to say is, the way we're supposed to live is to make sure we have the basic stuff, the basic things, and every other thing should be a bonus. So we should just make sure that I have the basic things that I need, but most of the other things are bonus, and from that bonus, I will be willing to be a blessing to other people. Let's say, for example, I have one house, maybe two, maybe three, but the money that I will have after that, instead of me building more 10, 20 houses, why don't I just use it to be a blessing to other people? Or even if I build houses, but I want to build it to be a blessing to other people. Because, for example, what I see happening in Nigeria and in Nigerian churches is very disheartening. For example, take a church like Winners Chapel or Redeemed Church. You know, they are living by new projects. One project, this project, that project. So people are always, these churches are always starting a new project that demands more money, that demands more, always more money. A new project always demanding more money. It's never enough. That is what wants do for you. But at that same time, when they are building a new campus, a new school, a new this, a new that, at that very time, there are people in their congregation that cannot even afford 3 square meals a day. They are not even noticing them. That is what want will do for you. Want we close your eyes to humanity. It will make you to be blind to love. So instead of you to notice the needs of your fellow man and to just know that you only need the basic things and all other things, let's use it to bless other people. If you don't have that mentality that is what life is all about, you end up just trying to expand and build more and more projects and expanding, and you will lose yourself. You will lose Christianity, you will lose faith, you will lose humanity, you will lose compassion, you will lose empathy in the process. But when you have it as your basics as the foundation and fundament of your life, that life is not about how much things I could acquire. Life is not about the amount of goods that I have. Just like in the parable that Jesus spoke, he said a man was making a lot of money, and instead of him using the money to bless other people, to glorify the name of God and to use it for the expansion of the kingdom, What he was doing, he was just, using it to build up his own legacy, his own estate. And he kept on adding building more wealth to himself. And God came to him and said, an angel came to me and said, well, today your life will be taken away from you, because you are not rich towards God. You are not rich towards people. You are just thinking about yourself. That's because he's living out of want instead of living out of need. So when we talk about low yielding life, even though you might think you have all these physical material things, but it's still a low yielding life, because at the end of the day you lose everything. That's why Jesus said, blessed are those who are poor in the spirit. First of all, blessed are those who mourn for righteousness. Blessed are those who thirst for righteousness. So the ability to deprive yourself of abundance and to be able to humble yourself is actually where the real blessing is. The ability to be able to deprive yourself and think about the other people, that's where the real blessing is. So high yielding life is a life of the man that it mourns over all the things that are wrong in his society and in his environment, and is concerned about fixing that environment and that community. Blessed, high yielding life is the life of a man that sees himself as poor in spirit, as poor, so that he empties himself, sees himself as poor, and God said that is the man that will be blessed. Blessed is the man that is thirsty for righteousness. When you are concerned that things will be right, that things will be done right, that things will be, people's lives will be okay, all right, that you are hungry for righteousness. You want to spread God's righteousness, God's dominion, kingdom of God's dominion. Those are the kind of things that really make you to be wealthy. That is what will give you a high yielding life. That is where the high yielding life is. But when you just live for the things that you want to use to brag or to show external extravagance and to show flashy lifestyle and things like that, you will end up being depleted. You will end up being frustrated. You will end up being bankrupt. The problem with living for want is also because the list is never going to be complete. You will never know when to say it's okay or it's enough. You will never be able to stop. And that's what the Bible talks about in 1 John chapter 2, 15 to 17. When you live for want, is living for the lust of the eyes and the lust of the flesh and the pride of life. It's never going to be satisfied. It's never going to be enough. So the list will never be exhausted. You will always live in eternal dissatisfaction. So in your heart, you will never really be completely satisfied. You will always be feeling, no matter what you have, that there is still something lacking. There is still something you are missing. You will never be completely satisfied. So wants don't satisfy. Those people who live for wants, they never really get satisfied. They never get happy. Because if you don't have satisfaction, you will never be happy. For you to be happy, you must have a limit, a definition of what makes you happy. And it must be a finite, a limited list. Because if it's unlimited list, then, you will never be happy. So that is one problem with want. Basically, anything that you get through the five senses, they are insatiable. So if you are going to tie down your joy, your satisfaction to things that you experience as a taste, you will never really be satisfied, because you will feel thirsty tomorrow again. You will feel like tasting something else in future. If it's something that you feel will satisfy you through feelings, the feeling will not last you more than 20 minutes. Anything that comes from the five senses, their satisfaction is limited. Their satisfactory lifespan is not more than 2 hours. There is nothing that you eat that will give you satisfaction of eating it that will last more than 2 hours. If you eat ice cream, that taste of ice cream will disappear in under 2 hours, maybe under 20 minutes. If you wear a cloth, that feeling of pride will evaporate in less than 2 hours. If you feel a touch, that you're touching somebody and you hug someone or kiss somebody or you have sex, it will not last more than 2 hours. So under 2 hours, any satisfaction that comes from the 5 senses, that we have, that the touch, the taste, all these 5 senses, they would disappear under 2 hours. Any feeling, any satisfaction, any joy, any pleasure you get from any of the 5 senses, what you see, what you hear, what you touch, what you taste, all these things will disappear in under 2 hours. So in the next 2 hours, you need another touch. In the next 2 hours, you need another taste. In the next 2 hours, you have already forgotten how that tasted like or feels like. So that's why we don't live for these things that are connected with what we want. We will always have wants, but you should mellow it down. You should, stem it by your values, by the values of what is right, by the values of your needs. And you should get yourself to a place of satisfaction on the level of needs. That my satisfaction is going to be determined not by wants or what I feel, but by what I need. Once I have met my basic needs, yes, I will train myself to be satisfied. I will rather be satisfied, already. If I'm going to have more, let more come later on. But that more doesn't determine my satisfaction. I was already satisfied before I get the more. So if more is going to come, let it come. But if it's going to come or not going to come, I'm already satisfied anyway. So your satisfaction must be connected to your needs. Because when you put your satisfaction in and you tie it to your needs, and your needs are met, then you know that every other thing you do from there is to add value to others, to add value to yourself, to be a blessing to the world, to produce something. It's a benefit. It's an extra benefit. So it doesn't mean that, okay, you just have your needs and the basic needs and you say, okay, I don't want to do anything anymore. No. That is also living for the flesh at the same time. But when the high yielding life comes, when you are not waiting for physical things to satisfy you, when you're already satisfying your heart, and now you are living to be a blessing to other people, you are living to serve humanity, to serve God, you are giving, to be a blessing to people. That is how the high yielding lifestyle comes. But to live for once is to carry a perpetual sense of, inadequacy. And that inadequacy you will try to compensate every day. You will always try to compensate your wants, your desires, because they are insatiable. So you will always be on the move. You will always be, dissatisfied. You will always be pushing yourself. And it doesn't make you better. It only makes you worse. So let's talk about some wants that we are familiar with. There are people that are big on wanting to buy fast cars. And so they keep on buying a new series, a new model every 2 years or every year. And they're spending money on that. So instead of using that money to be a blessing to the world or to other people, they must get their fast car. Same with people who are living for, having new cars. Or every 2 years they are buying a new car. And maybe they could have, used the money to do something better, to buy eternal values, things of eternal values, things that are not visible. But because they are addicted to want, they want to buy the latest. I've seen people, okay, who've seen my telephone. I used to use telephone, so now I don't even use any telephone. But some people will look at my telephone and say, "Oh, Pastor, you are using this old brand or old-fashioned telephone," because they had an iPhone 4, and now next year they want to have iPhone 5, then they want to have iPhone 6, then they want to have iPhone 7. They keep on buying all these things because of wants. So a lot of these industries, a lot of these companies, they are actually living out of these kind of people that just live on wants, because they know that you cannot do without your wants. It's like you're addicted to it. So instead of you to be addicted to love, to kindness, to helping people, to service, to investing in people, to doing good to the underprivileged, you are rather addicted to getting a new form of iPad or iPhone. Or that is addiction. That's a problem, and that is a low yielding lifestyle. It gives you a low yielding lifestyle. After this, I'm going to be talking about how to get, after today's topic, I will be talking on how to live for high yielding things. And what are these high yielding things? What are the values that we could live for, that will that we will know for sure that our life is high yielding? How do we make our lives high yielding? What are the values we must identify with? How can we make sure that our life is going to be high yielding, not just here on earth, but in heaven as well? I remember a lot of people. I even know somebody that had so much money, and they were spending all the money on cars. And one car that we use, one car will cost $70,000, $100,000, but he never owned an apartment. An apartment will cost maybe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, but he was having 2, 3, 4 cars that are costing $100,000. So when he ran into a problem, he lost everything, and he still didn't have a house to live in because of wants. Was just addicted to his cars. So that is a want. And how will you buy 3, 4, 5 expensive cars and you don't even have an apartment? He was renting an apartment. Or sometimes he would go and stay in hotels and pay big money in the hotels. So people are like that. They will spend money on their wants, whereby they don't even know about the necessities of life that they themselves need, their family members need. A lot of people that I know spend a lot of their money and energy getting their wants, whereas their grandmother, their parents, their relatives are dying in the village. They are not even remembering them. They're not even giving them anything, because they are just living big in towns, in Lagos, in Abuja. But their village people are perishing. Their relatives, their uncles, their brothers that help them, no luck. Because these are the consequences of living for wants. It's a low lifestyle. And when they lose their job or when they run into trouble, nowhere to go. That's low lifestyle. Some people will spend up to $300 on a telephone, or $500. But then they don't eat quality food at home. They are spending all their time on their want rather than on their need. So they eat anything, they eat the cheapest food, but at the same time, they are holding telephone that could feed them very well. Some people are living in a house that will cost millions, but they don't even have money to do good to anybody around them. So this is all about wants versus needs. So the area of satisfaction, what we should do to reverse this is to make sure that we convince ourselves that no, I'm only living, I'm going to be satisfied once I get the basic things. All of that things are bonuses, and all of that things are things that I use to bless others and to gather for myself treasure in heaven. Like for example, one time I was talking to some people that I know, and they said, oh, we want to call for HMT, we want to come and study, we need this, but we don't have money. Then later on, he said, oh, but I plan to go to this place with my family. You going to vacation is going to cost you $3,000, and you couldn't spend $500 for something that will add value to you. To go to HMT, to go for training, something that will change you for life, you say you don't have money. First year, second year, third year. But you are every year going for vacation. What is that? Because it's in the head. Vacation is compulsory. Vacation is my want. I want vacation. But the things that will improve you, add value to you, you are not doing it. You're not spending money on it. So that's exactly what people are doing. A lot of people say they don't have money, but they use that money for luxury stuff. They spend the money to go places. They spend the money to buy things, to rest, to use in restaurant, to just spending their money and their life on wants rather than just be satisfied with their needs and then use the rest of the resources they have to build a better future for themselves and to be a blessing to other people. So a lot of things I could talk about. A lot of such things I could talk about. I mean, when I looked at Nigeria, for example, I see a place where pastors are using all the money that is coming from the people not to take care of those same people, but they're using it to build their empires. They're using it to build their names and their organizations and this and that. And that those very same people who brought the money in, and who are their members, who make them who they are, they cannot even afford to go to those schools. Why? Because pastors are more interested in their wants rather than in living a legacy, rather than in pleasing God, rather than in changing lives. Unfortunately, these kind of things are widespread all around us. Our wants make us to be dehumanized, to be unhuman, to be unpathetic, to lose empathy, to lose sympathy, to lose love, to lose humanity just because of greed. And that's another problem with wants. It leads you to greed. It leads you to egocentrism. It destroys your humanity. Anyway, well, I've been saying a lot about low yielding life and high yielding life, but I've paid a lot of emphasis on low yielding life these last 2 days. But from tomorrow, I'm going to be talking a lot about how to build your life to become a high yielding person, how to build your life on values, and what are the values that you could build your life on that will guarantee you that you are a high yielding person. Meanwhile, if you have not yet joined our mentorship class, go to sundayadelajahblog.com/mentorship, or you could also you could go and get my books. You can get them on Kindle Unlimited for free, or you can buy them, or you could if you want to buy many books, you could write to my office, dssbooks@gmail.com, dssbooks@gmail.com, and then you could get them cheaper than on Amazon. And if you have not yet registered for HMT, find out when the next HMT is coming up and write to hmt@godembassy.org. hmt@godembassy.org. And if you have not yet come to Ukraine, you can come to Ukraine at any time too. We'll be happy to have you. So join the mentorship by going to sundayadelajahblog.com/mentorship, sundayadelajahblog.com/mentorship. Come to HMT by writing to hmt@godembassy.org, and try to read as many books as possible and listen to the messages on YouTube as well. So yeah, what I'm doing these days is just to go straight forward and do the teachings and not waste much time on ceremonies. And a lot of people are advising me that's a good one. So I'm not doing the slides or anything, just teaching. So thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Jesus, Jesus, I love you. Jesus, Jesus, I call upon you. I know that you hear me always. Sanctify my heart with your spirit. Jesus, Jesus, I love you. Jesus, Jesus, I call upon you. I know that you hear me always. Sanctify my heart with your spirit. And my soul is like a string. Once you touch it, it will worship you once again. Remember me. Recall me. Remember me. Oh my Lord, my dear one, my God. I am praying to you in empty nights.
Бо мій погляд до твоїх очей, а душа